So I want you to picture something. It's iron, and it fits over a woman's head like a cage, and inside there's a metal plate that presses down on her tongue, and as she tries to talk, it hurts, and it's called a scold's bridle. And for over 2 centuries in Britain, it was a very normal legal punishment, not for stealing or for violence, but for talking. And it was for a woman who argued or gossiped or answered back. So they'd lock her into it and they'd walk her through the town on a chain. And there was even a name for it. It was called the common scold, and it applied only to women. This wasn't one cruel husband, it was structural, it was part of civic life, and it wasn't the only thing, because the same centuries gave us the witch trials, and the people that were burned and drowned were overwhelmingly women. And women who healed and who knew things, or who lived without a man, or who spoke against one. Sylvia Federici's point is that this wasn't just superstition getting out of hand, it was actually a way of disciplining women, women's bodies, their knowledge, right when the modern world needed women controlled. So the witch is the woman who wouldn't be contained. And that word contained is the word I keep coming back to, because women get handed the interior, the private, the domestic, our internal life. So we're meant to hold all the feeling, but we're not meant to say it out loud. So you get this inside, and you kind of get told to keep it there. Be deep, but... And the bridle's mostly gone now, but the silencing, it didn't stop. It just kind of gets cleverer. It's like a whack-a-mole game. And this is where Foucault makes a point that power doesn't actually need force. It doesn't need a cage or a chain. It actually works through what gets to count as a credible thing to say and who gets to say it. So you don't need the iron anymore because you've got discourse, you've got words and text instead. Women get called hysterical, shrill, mental, crazy, dramatic, too much, over-emotional. And every one of those does the job of a bridle because it takes what a woman says and it sort of files it under noise. And there is a philosopher, Miranda Fricker, who calls this testimonial injustice, where your words get marked down, not for what you said, but for who you are. And that discrediting happens before anyone's even heard what you've said. And it goes deeper than that. Sisu and Clement, I think, write about the witch and the sorceress, or the hysteric. And they say that women's speech gets heard as a symptom of womanhood rather than a statement. So it's not a testimony. She's not testifying. She's acting out. So you don't have to silence women if you've already decided that women talking is pathological. And the cruelest part of this is that the cage sort of goes inside. You start watching yourself. You soften. You swallow things. You ask, am I overreacting? Am I too much? Before you've even said the thing. And I see a sort of microcosmic version of this constantly in families, where there's usually one person who says the thing that no one else wants to name. Do they get thanked? No. They get scapegoated. They become the black sheep, the difficult one. And that is because the whole system was holding on together to the silence, and naming it threatens everything. And it's much easier to make the speaker the problem than to face what the speaker is pointing at. Now scale that up, because that's the silenced woman across a whole culture. The bridle, the stake, the diagnosis of hysteria, same move every single time. Make the one who speaks into the one who is sick. And it's not history. Let's think about Virginia Giuffre, one of the loudest voices about Epstein. For years, she was called unreliable, sensationalist. Her credibility was picked apart, which is the exact machinery that discredits, make her unstable. And she was largely vindicated because Maxwell was convicted. Other survivors were saying she's the reason they came forward. But she died last year. Her family said the weight of all of this just became too much. And I don't want to tie that into a lesson, but the cost of being the one who speaks is not behind us. It's actually a horror story. It's one long continuous reproduction, and it's barely changed, because that iron becomes a feeling that we introject into our bodies, and it does the same job, that feeling inside. Keep contained and expect retaliation when you say something which is unpleasant. So if you've ever tried to say the thing and you felt that sort of flush of dread that you're about to become the problem, that you're too much, I don't want you to read that that's something wrong with you. It's very old, it is inherited, it is the bridle still sitting in your jaw, and it's largely women but not just women. And if it was built, it can be refused, and the refusal is quite simple. When it's frightening, you speak anyway. You let the inside out. And that's what re-embodiment actually is. It's not a wellness thing, it's actually a political act of taking your voice back. And it's very difficult to do, and people say, well, what's the point if you're going to get retaliated anyway? And I say this, the point is not to be heard by others. The point is that the part of you that needs to hear that you are worth speaking up for hears it. It's not about anyone else, it's about you.